ask someone who has caused you as much grief and pain as I have to stand up here and give you this charge is a testimony of your gracious and generous spirit. And I mean, with all sincerity, that I feel that gracious and generous spirit has been an instrumental part of my spiritual growth over the last 3 years. So I start this charge off maybe in an odd way, but I just want to say thank you. Thank you very much. And then I'm going to tell a story. No surprise there, right? Okay. My wife and I were newly married. Found ourselves living in a small, and I mean small, one-bedroom apartment. We started grad school and we were learning that living on love is a lot harder than the songs and movies make it out to be. When the leanness of our finances and the difficulties of grad school settled in, we reminded each other of a mantra. We would say, we have everything we need to be happy right now. Fast forward 16 years. My wife now has a full-time job as an ICU nurse. For the first time in our married life, we are experiencing financial stability. We are saving money. We are ordering off the normal menu at Taco Bell and Wendy's. Things are going swimmingly until tax season comes around. Now, don't get me wrong. For 16 years, tax season was my favorite time of year. Okay, a single income family with 4 children, that's a holiday. Okay, Uncle Sam can outgive any of our parents, let me tell you that. Okay, so we would sit down normally, we would huddle around the computer as Daddy entered the last digits into this tax preparation software. And we would watch that little calculator go higher and higher, and then there would be rejoicing and happiness, and we would all go out to Taco Bell for dinner just to celebrate. Well, this year, we're busy, it's moving around, getting ready for dinner, and I am entering the last digits of this year's numbers into tax preparation software. And indeed, that calculator was going higher and higher and higher, but the number was a different color. And it did not say refund at the bottom. It said taxes owed, and let me tell you, it was about the same size as those old refunds were. That wasn't in the budget, certainly wasn't in the checking account, and I just sat there and kind of stared with my mouth open, and I mumbled out to my wife, it's not a refund. And she came to me, and she put her hand on my shoulder, and she said, honey, we have everything we need to be happy right now. Seniors, this is my charge to you. Guard that happiness that is available to you right now. And you know me well enough to know that I'm not talking about the happiness of self-indulgence that our world presents to you all the time. I'm talking about the happiness of Aristotle, who taught us that happiness is an activity of our souls in accordance with the virtuous life and dependent very little on your external circumstances. I'm talking about the happiness of Boethius. That's right, he's a medieval philosopher who taught us that happiness is identical to God himself, and that for us to share it, we must share in his nature. It can be enjoyed as easily in the prison cell as it can in a fancy restaurant. You must guard this happiness. Why? Well, listen to the book of Hebrews. The writer there tells us to put our eyes on Christ, who's the author and perfecter of our faith, who, now listen, for the joy set before him endured the cross. Now, I tell you to guard happiness because what else is happiness but a life characterized by persistent joy? It is for joy that Christ went to the cross. But let us not neglect that dark note. Went to the cross. He endured the cross. I have 2 charges, in fact. The first one is to guard happiness. The second one is to guard your pain. Your pain is a sacred gift from the Father. Your loneliness, your fear, your fatigue and your grief, your sadness, it is a gift from God. You must guard it. Over time, he will transform that pain into compassion and wisdom and hope. But you must guard it, and here is why. Our culture has mastered the sinister art of spiritual anesthesia. And they will present you a dozen options, from alcohol, food, music, an abundance of screens, sex, work, success, all offering relief from the pain. But be warned, seniors, if you take the offer, not only will you miss out on the beauty of your sacred pain, you will forfeit the enjoyment of genuine pleasure and happiness that the Father has offered to you. As your income increases and your education increases, as your opportunities and success increase, you are going to be tempted to think that just crossing that next milestone will make happiness finally accessible. But don't believe it. The bar will just keep going up and up and up. So I tell you again, guard the happiness that is available to you right now. Befriend and cherish the sacred pain of existence, and renounce with all your being the spiritual anesthesia of this culture. Because I believe if you do, you will be walking toward the one in whose presence there is fullness of joy, and in whose right hand are pleasures forevermore. Go in peace. Thank you.